Welcome, cellar dwellers, to the Matthew Street channel. I am your host, Matthew Street, and I really appreciate you being here live from my cavern in my parents' basement. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Folks, this video is a video about an artist that I have not talked about in quite some time. I have done tons of videos about this artist on my channel, and I know you already know who it is from the header and the title and everything, but I've been neglecting talking about this artist for quite some time. But I recently saw a series of videos by Ed from the King's Court. Please check out Ed's channel, The King's Court. It's absolutely excellent. Awesome channel. And Ed did a video broaching this subject, and it sparked me to create this video today and talk a little bit about something special to me. And thank you, Ed, for that. Now, you all know my story of being a Beatles fan. It goes back to the early 60s and 64. You know the whole story with my parents and buying me Meet the Beatles, A Hard Day's Night, and bouncing on my toy horse. If you don't know that story by now, you haven't been watching my channel that closely. So you know that story. That's how I became a Beatles fan. That little boy being influenced by his parents buying those records for me. It wasn't for a few years after that that I finally was introduced big time to the joy and magic of Elvis Presley. Now, it was 1968. That's when I first fully became aware of Elvis and his talents and skills. Seeing the 1968 comeback special, or called Elvis, on NBC at the time, I was at my aunt and uncle's house. We had gone over to my aunt and uncle's with my two little brothers, and the big deal was to see this Elvis TV special. My three older cousins were there. They were a big music influence on me. There might have been other people there, and it was like a big event. You know, this was the thing back then, is a big TV special like that with Elvis was something people wanted to see and be part of. When I saw that special, and Elvis in all his glory, man, doing the end-around stuff when he was solo with his red guitar and his leather suit and jamming out the hits, and then sitting in the circle again with his buddies like DJ Fontana and Scotty Moore and playing those early hits and rocking them out. Some of the other musical skits and interludes that Elvis did throughout the show, it had a profound impact on me, folks, and I instantaneously became a fan of Elvis. It just was amazing, that special and the effect it had on me. And I got to tell you, I have loved the music from that special ever since. I have it in many configurations. These are just two of them that I have, but I loved it. And to this day, great picture of Elvis on the back of this one, by the way. To this day, that 68 comeback special, I have DVDs of it, I have CDs, vinyl, you name it. I just love it because that was the first major introduction for me to Elvis Presley. But let me say, Elvis didn't stop there. When he did that special and he announced to the world, "I'm back, folks," he kept going. He kept working, and he went into the studios in 1969, and he went to work, boy. And he created what could be, maybe arguably, but I don't think so, the greatest studio recordings of his entire career, in my opinion. Elvis created magic when he went to American Sound Studios in Memphis and recorded song after song. Unbelievable what he created during those sessions. Now, the passion was back. The fire was in Elvis's gut. He even said, "I will not record any more music that I don't believe in 100%, or something like that, he said, or music that he was proud of. And boy, he sure did so with those 1969 sessions. They are some of my personal favorites of Elvis's career. I'm talking the Sun Sessions notwithstanding, the early RCA rocking recordings notwithstanding. Those 1969 recordings of Elvis, I mean, on any given day, could be my favorites of all time by the King. And I have to tell you, folks, Elvis nailed it. He nailed it for all time. Now, those recordings, they have shown up in many configurations over the years, okay? We've seen them in things like from Elvis in Memphis, when this came out for these 69 recordings. Here's the back. We then saw the Elvis Back in Memphis album. Again, I'm not showing everything here. I'm not a completist. I'm just trying to set the mood and the vibe. But I have that. Love it. I also love this album where it's called From Memphis to Vegas, where you get Elvis in person at the International Hotel from those early 1969 shows, or the ones, his first foray back into live entertainment in Las Vegas, which probably some of my personal live material of Elvis's of all time. But it was a double album. You also got Elvis Back in Memphis with a lot of those songs from the sessions. Okay, so I think these sessions are the greatest ever recorded. I have them on FTDs like this, Back in Memphis. There were 3 of these FTDs. I only have 2 of them. But when Ed did his video, here's my other one, FTD from Elvis in Memphis. When Ed did his video, folks, it sparked something in me because he showed a configuration that I hadn't played in a while, but is probably, after hearing Ed talk about it, and I agreed with Ed 100%, this could be one of my favorite configurations of those 1969 recordings. This is the one I go to quite often over the years, and I have enjoyed it 110%. I always go back to this one. It's a gem from 1987 called The Memphis Record, Elvis Extra, 1969 Year in Review, The Memphis Record. Folks, this is a top-notch album. I love all this other stuff here. Love it, love it, love it for those sessions. But there's something about this one that really, really sets my heart aflutter. Okay? I love those Memphis sessions on this album. Now, like Ed was talking about, where these versions came from and that, I am not an expert on that kind of stuff. The only thing I can tell you is what I feel in here. And every time I put this on, I love the song selections on this double album. All right, I'll show you those right now if you want to freeze. Side A, side B, C, and D. Love the song selections on this recording. I love the sequencing of these recordings. You're getting some deep cuts and you're also getting the hits from those sessions. But the biggest thing that really gets me going on this is the sound, the mix. Like Ed was saying in his video, I don't know if they used different mixes, if they remixed, if they used different takes. What they did, I don't know for sure. I'm not that much of an Elvis audiophile that I can pinpoint it. All I can tell you again is like what I feel. And I just love the sound, the vibe, and the mix of these songs on this recording. Probably my favorites of all. And I love all this other stuff. I love all the FTDs with the, straight tracks and the alternate versions and all that stuff on here. I love the original stuff. But there's something about this recording that when I put it on and crank up that volume, get that bass a pounding, really, really gets me going, folks. I don't know what it is. Now, this is one of 4 releases, and it came out, like I said, 1987. It was the 10th anniversary of Elvis's passing, and so RCA released the Complete Sun Sessions. They released the #1 hits and another double album called the Top 10 Hits. Those are okay. I think I have the Complete Sun Sessions one. I don't think I have the other 2, but this to me is like a standalone Elvis album. I mean, sometimes I think even more so than that first original one, which in my mind is a classic album. Grab it right here. I mean, this is classic. This is probably one of the greatest albums Elvis ever put out. But I'll tell you, this right here is right up there for me because of the amount of songs, the sequencing, the sound. It's all right here, folks. I absolutely adore it, and I wanted to pay tribute to it and thank Ed for sparking me again to listen to it, which I've listened to it twice now in the last couple of days, and had the volume cranking, and I absolutely was in Elvis heaven. Because let's face it, folks, as much as I love the Beatles, as much as I love so many other artists in my Matthew Street cavern, so to speak, you got to say, Elvis, as an individual entertainer, was probably the greatest entertainer of all time, of all generations. He still inspires people all these years since he's left us. His music remains timeless and loved by millions all over the globe. So you got to give hats off to the king. You know, he can still make you smile. He can still bring you out of a gloomy day. And folks, if you have not heard the Memphis record yet, I highly, highly recommend you get this. If you have nothing else of Elvis from those sessions, 1969, get this. It's on CD. You can get the vinyl. I'm pretty sure it's still readily available. You have to check on that. I'm not sure. But I'm sure you can pick one up used. And folks, absolutely fantastic. Lots of cool stuff to read inside. It's just a great, great release. Well done by RCA. I know there's been hit and misses over the years with RCA and reissuing Elvis's material, but this was a hit. They did it right with this one, folks. So again, thanks, Ed, from the King's Court, for sparking me to get back into the Memphis record, and I'm going to be listening to it for quite some time here because I am back into it. I love it. Thanks again, folks. Thanks for being here. TCB and all that good stuff. God bless the King. Bye-bye.